Friends, I'm back with another horror movie. Today we continue with the American horror series Wrong Turn. This film belongs to the B-grade horror category, focusing on gore and violence, and overall it feels very stress-relieving to me. I strongly recommend watching it while eating. Please, all viewers, sit tight and hold on. Let's dive right into today's story. Da Zhuang is an intern doctor, currently rushing to a hospital for an interview. However, just after he started walking, a dead deer suddenly appeared on the ground beside him, and he didn't notice the vehicle ahead at all. After a while, five students and Little Blue didn't check the car first, but hurriedly asked Da Zhuang if he was injured. Yang Ge and Sister Stripes, on the other hand, immediately started scolding without saying much. Actually, Da Zhuang was also confused. He didn't understand why the car was left on the road. It turned out someone had placed barbed wire and tires on the road. The barbed wire was punctured on the spot, trapping them. At this time, Little White walked over and found that one end of the barbed wire was tied to a tree, clearly done intentionally. This shows that Little White is not only smart, but also good at detecting danger. After some discussion, they decided to search for a way out on foot. Brother Glasses and Sister Stripes did not agree with this point of view. They thought it was better to stay put and just wait for someone to pass by to be rescued. If nothing unexpected happened, something unexpected would happen. While Brother Glasses was packing up his things, a sudden sound came from nearby, and driven by curiosity, he followed it. It took quite a while before someone called his name. After waiting for a long time, Qiao Erji felt something was wrong. There was no one around the car, and no matter how much he shouted, he got no response. Then, a shoe on the ground caught his attention, and when he got closer, he saw that not only was there a shoe, but also a severed ear, with the earring clearly belonging to his boyfriend. Qiao Erji was so frightened by this scene that he kept retreating. At this moment, Da Zhuang and his group arrived in front of a house. They politely greeted, but after a long time, there was no response at all. Because they urgently needed to call for help. Helpless, they could only enter the house to search. Inside, there were various weapons and many car keys. The meat in the pressure cooker was also strange, with a very dark color, unidentifiable, wearing a... Out of curiosity, Da Zhuang opened the refrigerator, and to his shock, it was filled with human body parts. Xiao Bai also made a new discovery. The room was storing a lot of barbed wire. Xiao Lan encountered something terrifying too. He just went to the toilet and unexpectedly found a human hand in the bathtub. Suddenly, everyone panicked, realizing they had entered Sang Biao's house. They thought about leaving quickly, but unluckily, Sang Biao returned. Seeing this, Li Jiali and Li Ming each led their families towards the front and back doors. Witnessing this, they hurried to the back door. When they turned on the light, everyone was stunned. This door had long been sealed shut, leaving them with no way out. Go, just randomly find a place to hide. Soon Xin Miao returned home, holding a bloody machete in one hand and familiar barbed wire in the other. Xiao Bai and Da Zhuang were under the bed, not daring to breathe. Soon another Sang Biao came in, this time holding Park Wenjie, whose face was pierced through with wire, and both eyes were bulging like bells. Da Zhuang and the other person were so frightened, they quickly covered their mouths, fearing to make even the slightest sound. After that, Sang Biao carried Tiao Wenjie away. They first placed her on the table, and then started cutting her into small pieces with a chainsaw. It went on until the afternoon, when, while Sang Biao was taking a nap, everyone carefully sneaked out. If they kept hiding, they would definitely be discovered sooner or later. Everything was going smoothly at first until an accident happened when they opened the door. There was a spring above the door that made a noise. Fortunately, Da Zhuang was quick to react, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. After everyone left safely, Da Zhuang instinctively glanced at Sang Biao, unexpectedly finding that Sang Biao was also looking at him. This time Da Zhuang reacted even faster, not caring about anything else, desperately running forward. Meanwhile, Sang Biao was smart too. Instead of immediately chasing, they chose a faster car. Soon, Da Zhuang and his group arrived at a grassy area where many vehicles were piled up, clearly belonging to victims like them. From the bloodstains, it was evident that some were also meals in jars. Just as everyone was surprised, the roar of a car engine came over. Sensing something was wrong, Da Zhuang immediately signaled the others to take cover. After, in desperation, they hurried to the main room where Sang Biao was. If they kept hiding, they would eventually be discovered. There was only one solution. One of them would distract Sang Biao, while the others took the opportunity to drive away. As they were debating who would be the distraction, Da Zhuang said nothing and rushed out. But before he got far, he was hit in the leg by Sang Biao. No one expected this to happen. Seeing the creature getting closer, Curly decided to act as bait once again. This time, the run went very smoothly, and all the creatures were lured away. Seeing this as a good opportunity, Little White and the others immediately got in the car to pick up Curly. Rose knew exactly what was happening, and quickly ran over. After a while, several people reached the agreed location. Huan Mao also saw the car, but after running for a moment, his pace suddenly slowed down. Seeing the car right in front of him, he tried to take 2 more steps forward. Suddenly, something flew at him from behind again, and this time he couldn't move because of a blind spot in his view. Everyone in the car was completely puzzled. Then the thing flew over again from behind, piercing through Huan Mao's body. When he turned around, he saw 3 arrows standing behind him, and that's how Huan Mao met his end. Worried that the villain might chase them again, Xiao Bai and the other 2 had to drive away. They thought they had finally escaped from the clutches of danger, but unexpectedly, an accident still occurred. Ahead, their path was blocked by a large tree, and when they tried to reverse and take another route, they found the car was already stuck in a mud pit. They couldn't couldn't move forward or backward at all. With no other choice, they had to abandon the car. Now their only hope of finding a way out was to head for the highest peak. The journey was not so smooth. Da Zhuang almost stepped on animal traps several times. Meanwhile, Sang Biao wasn't idle either, continuously trying to locate them by sound. By the afternoon, Da Zhuang made a new discovery. There was actually a watchtower nearby. For them, this was undoubtedly a lifeline. Generally, such towers usually have radios, and from the top, they might be able to find a way out. Finally, they hurriedly climbed up. After some observation, a look of disappointment appeared on their faces. There was nothing but endless grassland outside, with no way out inside. They didn't give up and started looking for the radio inside. Without any surprises, nothing unexpected happened. There really was a radio inside the house. Xiaobai tried to call for help, but unfortunately, after calling for a long time, there was no response. That wasn't even the scariest part. Da Zhuang looked outside and noticed that Sang Biao had already found them. Later, because there was a light on the radio, they hurriedly covered it to avoid being discovered. After confirming that Sang Biao had left, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. But suddenly the radio started making noise, and the sound was just heard by Sang Biao. They immediately returned the way they came and made the watchtower their search target. The voice over the radio was that of the police. Xiaobai was responsible for conveying their position, while Dabang was trying to block the entrance. Soon, Sang Biao climbed up, but fortunately, Big Eyes reacted quickly and kicked at his fingers. Sang Biao held on. The first attack thus ended in failure. They did not continue attacking, but came up with a better plan, which was to set the watchtower on fire. As the flames grew larger, the only way to save themselves was to jump down. As long as they could hold on to a branch, they might survive. Da Zhuang took the lead and was the first to jump. Fortunately, he grabbed onto a branch. The second to jump was Xiaolan, who didn't accurately catch the branch. Actually, if it weren't for Da Zhuang helping him in time, he would have already become a corpse. The last one was Xiaobai, and the falling process went very smoothly, without any hesitation. Their action has been noticed by Sang Biao, and one of them is climbing the tree. Da Zhuang and the others didn't sit around waiting. They carefully moved to another tree. At first everything was normal, until Little Blue moved, and it was so frightened that it retreated. Because of this action, it lost its life in vain. As Sorrowful Biao got closer, Da Zhuang had a flash of inspiration and came up with an idea. They first headed to another tree and then chose an appropriate branch. Then Xiaobai went back. He kept shouting, trying to get Sorrowful Biao's attention, and unexpectedly, Xiaobai ran up a tree. After a while, Sang Biao indeed came. 1 second he was still smug. The next moment, Da Zhuang released the branch and he was instantly catapulted away. The height from here to the ground is about 15 meters. Even if Sang Biao doesn't die, he would be crippled. Da Zhuang and Xiaobai didn't linger long. They kept moving to prevent another attack from Sang Biao. Not long after, they arrived in front of a waterfall. To avoid being hunted by the fierce pursuer, they could only hide in the waterfall cave for one night. The next day, they started looking for a way out again. Finally, persistence paid off, and this time they found a road. If they keep following their road, they can definitely get out of the forest. But before they could rejoice, the zombie puma attacked again. Da Zhuang tried to protect Xiaobai, but didn't expect another zombie puma to come from behind. In the end, Da Zhuang luckily survived, while Xiaobai was captured alive. At this moment, a police car drove by on the road, and Da Zhuang hurriedly stopped it and told them about the zombie puma incident. In a panic, Da Zhuang wanted to drive away quickly, but the car wouldn't start for some reason. As an arrow shot towards him, he could only crawl under the car to take cover. Before long, Sangshan caught up and looked around, but did not spot Da Zhuang. Then he bent down to look under the car, but unfortunately, there was still no sign of anyone. At this moment, Da Zhuang had already hidden in the bushes. He thought to himself, "You didn't expect this, did you? I predicted your move." At the forecast, the feast was nowhere to be found, so the zombie gave up the search. He put another body into the trunk, deciding to go back and enjoy himself. Da Zhuang did not leave alone. He took advantage of a moment when the zombie wasn't paying attention. He quietly crawled back under the car. That's right, he was going to rescue Xiaobai. On the other side, Xiaobai had already been tied to the table, and Sang Biao was about to start the cutting segment. At this moment, another Sang Biao returned home, allowing Xiaobai to escape the danger. Da Zhuang did not act rashly. He waited until Sang Biao was moving the body, then quietly crawled out from under the car, watching as Sang Biao cut into another body. He was very aware that the next one was about to collapse. Sure enough, Sang Biao quickly came over with a knife. Just as Xiaobai was about to meet his end, a big fire suddenly broke out at the door. In order to find out what was happening, one of the Sang Biao went over. The reaction was very swift. He picked up a Molotov cocktail and threw it at another zombie. Confirming that its movement was hindered, he quickly went to the car to get a weapon to counterattack. Despite being tall and strong, being burnt on one side and beaten on the other, anyone would be at a disadvantage. Finally, the zombie was pierced by the weapon, losing any ability to resist. Then Da Zhuang hurriedly untied Xiaobai, but just halfway through, that zombie came back to life again. He seemed fine, and I felt like his wounds might have healed themselves. This time, he wasn't even weak after resurrecting. Instead, he became even stronger. Seeing that Da Zhuang was about to meet his end, Xiaopan quickly freed his hands and grabbed a large rock. Then he picked up the bow and arrow and shot it over. Just like that, Sang Biao fell unconscious again. Just when they thought it was finally over, another Sang Biao appeared, the one who fell from the tree. This person was very lecherous and was so captivated by Xiaobai that he couldn't move. Because of this, Da Zhuang had the chance to go up and choke him. Seeing it was a good opportunity, Xiaobai picked up an axe and chopped over. Thus, this Sang Biao also fell into unconsciousness. Then, the two hurried outside. Seeing that the monster was about to revive again, Da Zhuang decisively shot the gasoline barrel, and the whole house was instantly destroyed, with only some debris left. In the end, Da Zhuang and Xiaobai successfully escaped, and the forest returned to peace.